All right, welcome everyone to round 11 of the Track Stars Formula 2 Championship. Obviously, unfortunately, we had to do a bit of a reshuffle um, earlier in the season, a couple of weeks back, because we had some lobby issues, stuff like that. But we are back racing again, live from the fabulous Mount Panorama Bathust, which is in the lovely city of Sydney, which majority of our races are from. So it'd be good to see then. But the reason we've started the stream early, as always, I've got my fellow commentator beside me in NSPUD P666.
Howdy, howdy. Good evening, all.
Um, yeah, so basically, I'll let you talk it through the early stream, Spudley.
No worries. Thanks for that, DJ. Yes, thank you for providing us that lovely intro that you always do for us this season, as you are head of the Streamlabs, and you get to say whatever you like at the beginning. So thanks for saying that up. But yes, but we will give you a bit of a rest. We'll make sure that you can get the lobbies all sorted out. So by the time we finish up with our interviews, then we can get racing underway or qualifying underway for the final round of the Track Stars Formula 2 Championship, where we may see a new champion in Lunacy from the Project One racing team take out the title of Track Stars Formula 2. But never say never, like I've said before, that there is a very slight mathematical chance for Cylon 96 to steal the title away from Lunacy. But before we dive into all of that stuff, we would like to introduce our Formula Track Stars champion in the numbers from the number 66 garage. It is Mr. Diswood One, Dan Wood. How are you this evening?
Not too bad, Spudley. How's yourself, mate?
Oh, pretty good. Another Sunday night. Very, very nice and overcast with a bit of beautiful sunset outside. So got some nice weather up here in Newcastle. How about yourself down in Cairns?
Yeah, pretty warm up here, mate. Pretty deadly.
Ah, that's good. Now we've got you here. We've got you on the stream. So obviously, those that are tuning in this evening, we will have Woods first, and then we'll bring up Chase, who is the boss of CP Motorsports. But to start off with you, Woodsy, what an amazing season you've had this year in season 3 of Formula Track Star. 6 wins and a second place to make it 7 podiums in an 11-round season calendar. So tell me, how does this championship win rank amongst your accomplishments in track styles or in other forms of league racing?
Pretty big, mate. To be honest, didn't really know what we're going to be going into. Start of the season. It was just going to be happy to just sort of gauge on where pace was going to be with the field, and just try and set a solid platform and just build from there. But from the outset, it was pretty clear that there was a definite pace advantage. So whether it was through some good tuning or just more in tune with the car or whatnot, not sure. But yeah, definitely took advantage of it. And certainly in the earlier rounds, polled it on.
So pretty much throughout the preseason testing, as obviously if our viewers don't know, we did have a delay in our season where we were meant to get started underway back in April, but of course, unfortunately, GT7 was plagued with multiple issues throughout mainly lobby settings and car settings. But once we got our season underway, we managed to get pre-season testing underway. But the talk around the paddock was that you were an early heavy favourite to take it to the reigning champion in Spud, to take the number 1 of your Smash Spuds racing Toyota Dallara SF19. How did you see it from your perspective? Did you relish the fact that you were favourite, and also who was your main threat that would cause a speed bump in your quest to take the driver's title?
To be fair, I didn't really see myself as the favourite. I did think that yourself, DJ, coming for you, and a couple other boys would have, was certainly going to set the pace. But yeah, it just didn't work out that way. It just managed to set the pace, and the target was firmly set on my back. So the pressure was put back on myself to, try and set that standard, and eventually, throughout the season, various people were catching up to us, or certainly at Nürburgring, when the rain, lunacy, certainly in the earlier parts, before the wind change came through halfway through, he was actually catching me. So, there's some very impressive performances from up and coming guys, and the regulars as well. So, I mean, you can't say it was a completely dominating season. The results sort of early on reflected that, but it's throughout the races, there's more stories to tell than what the end result shows.
Absolutely, and obviously those drivers such as obviously myself coming for you, and then Lunacy, who managed to do at least all 11 races in the Formula Track Stars, as well as competing in Formula 2, which we may be able to see a brand new champion in the F2 later this evening after the Bathurst round. So obviously those drivers are coming in thick and fast with you, but as you mentioned, your CP Honda Dallara SF19 was an absolute weapon throughout the season. 2 3-peats, which could have been more had it not been for your post-round penalties that plagued your margin, ever growing in the standings. So basically, throughout all of these, what you could say this dominance that you've had in your number 66 CP Honda, where did you actually find the peak performance from the car? In other words, what rounds or tracks did you think that the car was the greatest thing since sliced bread?
It's Interlagos. The car there, I'm not a big fan of Interlagos. Personally, I don't like the track itself. It's just another road to drive around. But for whatever reason, the car we finally tuned the setup, and we went over some old data from the previous season. We're like, oh yeah, it clicked on pretty quickly to grasp pace. And we set a target in mind to try and tune it down to that point, and we figured that if we could achieve that sort of lap time, we'd be pretty comfortable. And when it came to the race, the thing was an absolute jet. It was just on rails, and you just throw the whole kitchen sink at it, and it'd just be sweet. It was beautiful. So yeah, I think that race, the car was just fantastic. Literally, you could not fault it at all.
That definitely Interlagos race, and especially at the Nürburgring, so you had both wet and dry races. That car seemed on edge and on rails, and it looked to be obviously the car to beat us. That's where we saw Diswood 1 make an appearance after what wasn't a great first round for yourself. But from round 2 onwards, you definitely showed the rest of the field what your pace could be like. But with that, let's reflect back throughout your whole season that made you the champion in Season 3 in Formula Track Stars. So for a few questions, we're just going to say, what was your greatest moment, or what was your best moment or best win in Season 3 of Formula Racing?
Oh, best win. Oh, gee. It's between St. Croix and Bathurst, just because we had a bit of luck go our way. I know you were spitting chips over it, but I guess just making the soft tyre last as long as it did with the ×4 tyre wear. It was, around Bathurst, it was going to be a bit of a challenge, and the safety car sort of, it helped. In that way. And with St. Croix, there was a few incidents throughout the race. Things just not going our way, or we were just in the wrong place at the wrong time, fighting the wrong people. As throughout a race, it gets to you mentally. You're getting a bit frustrated. It came through with the goods for us. I guess you could sort of say that about Suzuka as well, because it did not qualify well. I was pretty teased off. So, yeah.
You were behind me, and I didn't qualify that well. But I think that what would you say? I'd say the first safety car really kind of helped you out there, because obviously with
Well,
you.
no, it didn't.
Actually, no. Yeah, sorry.
No, because I was the first safety car.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, second
that
safety car.
that's correct. But
Yeah.
really, with you obviously starting at the back, then you would have kind of really been on what you would have called a strategy. You really would have started on an alternate to try and
Nah,
either make your way through the field
nah,
or.
nah, negative. So I'd talked to Duram a couple days previous. I think it was on the Friday about strategy because I was running a couple tyre simulations and I hadn't really done much long running on the soft. But I figured if I could split, because typically a high percentage of safety cars has happened at the start of the race, so you can get X amount of laps out of the way then. So I had a chat with him, and I figured that I'd run soft tie at the start, knowing that there's more than likely going to be a safety car because we had a safety car at Suzuka last year, and flip to the harder compound tyre, which we know it just gets quicker as the fuel just drops down, and then just try and as also I've had the mega hard tyre pace all season, so try and take advantage, blitz it, and then send it home on the softs on an empty tank. So
Absolutely.
that was the more common sense approach for me. If I had stayed out on the hards and then get caught by a safety car, you risk the chance of getting run over and then causing all sorts of hell at the end. So always got to try and keep your options open. So yeah.
Exactly, and also throughout that season, who was the surprise driver in the Formula field that you thought he's got talent and the potential to actually challenge yourself for a victory, and who looked to be like a really quick driver?
Lunacy, the kid has got talent. Like he's got absolute raw speed. There are several times throughout the season. Like I'll use Brand's Hatch for an example. Myself and DJ were plodding along out the front. I was very slowly catching DJ, but then he'd pull a couple tenths away, and slowly back and forth. And during the battle, we had probably an 8-second lead over the rest of the field.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the blue, he's right on my back bumper. I was like, holy hell, where's he come from? So, and then again at Nürburgring, he was keeping pace with me, and at some points he was actually catching me in the early stages before the wind direction changed and it sort of threw the aero balance of the cars out. So yeah, he's very impressive, and I've just he asked for a bit of advice throughout the season. Just try and coach him and just keeping composure and whatnot, and he's kept being able to keep his composure, and he's come through with the dub. I believe at Spa, I think it was. So he's done it.
The only reserve driver to actually get a victory in the Formula Trackstars Championship. So it was a huge accomplishment for Lunacy and for Satellite Racing to get their first win in their debut season in Trackstars Racing Series. But as well, he's definitely a future talent. If we end up getting him in the main series, hopefully maybe for Satellite Racing and the upcoming Touring Car Championships, we'll have to wait and see. But also, just a bit of a slight dig for you, Woodsy. Were you actually glad that there were drop rounds in? Sorry, I'll say that again. Were you glad that there were drop rounds included in this calendar season?
Yes.
I think really he's glad that there's drop rounds, but I think hang on, let me put the question back to you, Spud. Are you glad that there's drop rounds in the calendar season?
Absolutely not. No, but I think what it did is actually brought down, I think it kind of brought that finale esque vibe where obviously when it came to the drop round, obviously you had Woodsy leading the way ahead of myself, but it all kind of made that a little bit more slight edge when I qualified the car in P2 and he was down the order in P10, and I just thought, I'm just trying to do like rough calculations on my head to think, if I place here, they need to make sure Woodsy gets into this position. But throughout that whole race, yeah, his car just looked like incredible, especially on that hard tire. And yeah, obviously full credit goes to him. But now we turn our attentions to the Trackstars Touring Car Championship that's coming up. What are the champions' expectations for this season, and can you make the Honda NSX lightning fast like you made last year, going on to win the title in 2021?
Yeah, big expectations on myself. Naturally we're gonna try and go in and defend the championship. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. That's the goal. So, I think we can do it. It's a long season. There's a lot of tracks that certainly on sport in that first season where we thought the Honda wasn't really gonna produce the goods for us, and we were able to flip a tune and it produced the goods for us. We certainly come away with a lot of good results, and particularly with the ballast as well. The car handled it well on some tracks, better than we expected. So, yeah, I think we can go in and defend the championship this season. It's going to be really competitive for the Enduros, though. I think that's really where the curry is at.
Yeah, I think that Enduro season is definitely going to be a interesting one, but also with some drivers changing, say teams, manufacturers, stuff like that, does that kind of change your mentality to everything? Obviously, not taking a dig or anything, but you've obviously got myself that changed. We've got some drivers for Robbo, we've got some drivers stepping up for F2 for Spud, like they going from S2 specs to main series specs. Like, will that kind of change your insight on anything, or will that kind of go for it?
I was expecting you to say Speedy's name, the teammate from last season. So
actually, yeah, sorry, it is Speedy, and obviously having new obviously satellite in there, and the Ice Group Racing team as well. So they're also a new team. So will that kind of, with having Luna's Speedy and Ridwan in satellite, do you see them kind of as much of a threat coming in to touring cars?
Always with we've transitioned across the 7, so always with going on to a new game, we've got a new set of toys to play with. So the way I'm looking at it is that everyone's a contender, at least for the first few rounds, until we suss out whether we've got a grasp on the car compared to everyone else. Certainly the expectation is to be towards the front, pushing. But you can't be too judgmental. It's like in supercars. You get a new set of toys, go in. You got your standard. Who was it? You got FPR or Tickford as they're known these days. You got Red Bull, Ampol. Those sort of teams that they're generally up the front punching on. So, it's early to say that, we got to go out there, we got to blow them away, blah, blah, blah. The reality is that in testing so far, the Honda's been a little bit unresponsive to certain things. So, we'll just keep pulling away and we'll see how we go. Certainly the Nissan and the Lexus have got a fair bit more frontline poke. So, yeah, she's going to be interesting.
Absolutely, and once we get through once we finally sort out the balance of performance that we get for all 3 cars, we'll hopefully get the season underway in a week's time as we conclude the evening here with the Trackstars Formula 2 drivers. But for you, Woodsy, thanks for taking the time. Thank you for joining us this evening in the commentary box and providing a compelling insight of your season in the interview as champion of the Formula Trackstars series. Good luck to you for the upcoming Trackstars touring car season, and we cannot wait to see how the action unfolds very soon in the Group 2 GT500s.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
All right, so that is Diswood 1 that has just joined us in the commentary box this evening. So it's great to have an insight of what Diswood can do when it comes to driving a Dallara SF19 Honda powered to the championship glory there, DJ. Obviously, you and we've obviously raced Woodsy for a very long time. I think I have a feeling that that's probably the most dominant I've actually seen Woodsy throughout a whole season in track stars racing, or even so in GT Sport or 7 racing.
Yeah, I think for me personally, he's always been a fast driver. I think just obviously the experience on the game, getting his head around tuning, stuff like that. But also, yeah, battling with myself, yourself, Comerford, Lunacy, Gabans, Duram, all those kind of people. He's definitely shown that he can keep his composure and definitely put in consistent laps, just to keep himself out front. He can work a strategy, you know what I mean? Like he wouldn't, as as we all say, he wouldn't be leading a championship or won a championship and won the team standings if he wasn't able to do that. So obviously, me, you, and him, as well as Punce. Obviously, Punce wasn't able to join us this year, but we've all been pretty competitive with each other. I guess I think just in a YCR sense. Obviously, before we all obviously went to our own separate teams, we did have our own team. So I think we've really kind of all been competitive against each other just to see, and it's kind of, I'll be competitive at track and I'll be more dominant, and then you'll take the next track and then say, would you be that one? But we're not really kind of like we don't really kind
We're
of
not
get
like
angry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not bitter amongst each other. We're not, like we're not saying to them, like, oh, I beat you, like obviously I'm faster than you and blah blah blah. Yeah, there's a few like bragging rights here and there, but obviously nothing like that's hateful in a sense that you lose a friendship amongst the guys from YCR.
yeah, exactly. Obviously, we've been racing together for I'd say probably going on 3 years now. So I'm definitely feeling that wholesome kind of feeling there. Even though we do race for different teams, we still joke around, we still do that. But if some of us need help, we jump in, we help each other. It's kind of you're driving for a different team, I won't help you. It's kind of we all get together,
Yeah,
we all help each other out. It's that just how we are, I guess. Obviously helping the F2 drivers too. So yeah, as you said, we haven't really kind of been bitter with anyone. It's just yeah, we just get in there, race, have some good racing. If we have a bit of a punch on with each other on the track, we'll take it out on each other. Just roast each other, and then we'll be like, yeah, nah, sweet, we're all good. So, I guess it's definitely a good season, a good series to be in with a good bunch of lads. So, I'm very happy with seeing how Woods is going at the moment. It's obviously giving me more drive to try and take it to him. Obviously, I'm not as fast and as consistent, but I'm just trying my best. And obviously yourself not having Woodsy around, you're kind of winning the championships here and there. But now having obviously Woodsy, myself, coming for you, all the top drivers at the moment, it's definitely not as easy as what it used to be. So I think it's kind of really turned it up for everyone at the moment that we've got in the series.
absolutely right, and we can't wait to see what his performance is like coming in for the Touring Cars Championship. But now we turn our focus to the Track Stars Formula 2 here for round 11. What was initially slated for round 10 of the series is now actually gone into a round 11 for a finale, a Bathust finale. I know that DJ and I love a finale when it's at Mount Panorama. So what are our drivers expecting this evening? Obviously, we've got a champion to determine this evening. Obviously, Lunacy versus Cylon 96. Obviously, for a track like this, we know, DJ, obviously we saw a lots of finales, especially the finale in 2020, I believe it was, in the Supercar series, and that turned out to be a really good showing in the Supercars.
Yeah, I think any race you get at Bathurst is just a top race. It really kind of doesn't matter what car you're in, whether you're in a supercar, you're in a GT car, you're in an XL, or I've never seen him race go-karts here, but it'd definitely be a thing to see. But yeah, it's kind of any car you're in, it's definitely a top track, and I have driven it myself at full speed in a obviously one of those like race for real kind of things. But yeah, it's definitely something, if you get the experience to do, I highly recommend it, because watching it compared to driving it, it just really opens your eyes a lot more. But yeah, any race here is exciting, but coming down to a finale, that just makes it that much better. Being realistically in any kind of series.
And I guess any Australian driver will always want to have Bathurst as the finale or a start of a series, or if an Aussie fan really loves the motorsport, they would have Bathurst every single weekend, DJ. Obviously, it's a beautiful track and everyone loves it. And in that sense, essentially to have, at least for us to display Bathurst as the final round of the Trackstar Formula 2, what better occasion it is to have on a Sunday evening for us to call the coverage for you lovely people on the YouTube. So if you haven't joined us or you don't know what we are league racing series called Trackstars Racing Series. So if you haven't heard us before, do subscribe and follow us for weekly racing for coverage for the Trackstars Touring Cars and Formula Trackstars series. So Trackstars Formula Series is about to end after this round, but then we turn our attentions to the Touring Cars for the TS3, TS2, and even for the main series Touring Car Championship, where we'll have the GT500s of old and new around the track, belting around beautiful circuits on our 15-round calendar. But as we get ourselves underway for qualifying, we cannot wait to see this. DJ, I'll tell you how this implication is going to work if Xylon 96 needs to win this championship. He's got a very, if all for some weird reason that Lunacy does have some sort of DNF in this evening, they will only be able to score 100 points. So all Xylon will need to do, he either needs to place first or second. If he places second, he'll be tied on points with Lunacy, but going on countback, he will actually take out the championship with more victories to his name over Lunacy, 3-2. So you could say no pressure to Lunacy for his net to not drop out. I've seen that a couple of times in the main series. So hopefully he's not watching us this evening or not listening to us. That, mate, try not to get a DC, because if you do, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, obviously we did see him drop out I believe it was last week at Suzuka in main series, so that was a bit unfortunate there for Satellite. But anything is possible. You never know. My internet could drop out for all we know. So I touch wood that won't happen, because that happened last year at the 1500, which wasn't ideal. Actually, that wasn't my internet. That was my hard drive. My hard drive got too hot when I was running GT Sport. So yeah, we don't really kind of wish upon anyone, but he's Lunacy and Xylon have definitely kept us admin on our toes, really. I think as well, I believe Xylon had possibly 1 or 2 misattendances, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, Xylon's only missed only 1 race and had a DNF at Nürburgring. So yeah, it could have been a lot closer coming into this round, but yeah, obviously real life comes in the way. But obviously it shows up for a wonderful finale this evening, as we about to start our first hot lap with Aussie Hypnotic, the latecomer from a WTCC garage in the number 420 as is exiting Hell Corner up along Mountain Straight. DJ, as you said plenty of times, you've been here multiple times, so why don't you run us through a lap guide of this beautiful Mount Panorama Bathurst?
Yeah, how can anyone not like this beautiful Mount Panorama? As he just goes up here through Griffin's Bend, he's about to come into the cutting, and it doesn't seem as steep on a game, mate. Go in a car, and this thing is incredible. So he's just gone through the cutting there, coming up to Reed and Sulman Park, so he just goes underneath the Fujitsu Bridge there, up into Sulman Park, coming down here into the Great. You want to go hard right against the wall, coming into the Vista, over this fast left-hander into Skylon for a very quick downhill run as he comes through the SS here. Into the Dipper, that's also very steep. It's not one you want to get wrong, because if you get it wrong, you'll end up in the fence, just like what Will Brown did. So Aussie's made a pretty decent run there. He's just exited Forest Elbow for the this 1.3 kilometre run down Conrod Straight, I believe it is. It is one of the longest straights in Australian motorsport. Obviously being the bend, which is pretty close. So he's coming into the chase now. As some people don't know, the chase actually never used to exist. They used to run straight through. They never used to run through the chase. They used to run straight through down here into Murray's Corner. You want to break about the 70-ish metre mark into 50, depending on how confident you are. Through Murray's Corner into a good run here across the line. So he's just put in a 43.3 there, so that's a pretty clean lap from Aussie Hypnotic. And as I say that, his teammate just pips him by half a second. So yeah, some people would not aren't sure how steep this track actually is. It's, I believe, about 187 meters elevation from Mountain Straight to the top. So when you kind of look at it from the bottom, you look up the top and you're like, well, yeah, wow, that's a lot. And then you go from the top and look down, it's like you're looking at ants. So if anyone hasn't been there, I definitely recommend it. But I don't know about you, Spud. I don't know if you've heard some of those international drivers. They're really like, well, if there's one track I want to race, it's going to be at Mount Panorama.
Well, you even had the likes of Jenson Button and Fernando Alonso were very keen to make a wildcard cameo with the HRT or WAU, as it's called now, obviously with its ties with Zach Brown and McLaren, obviously trying to get one of those guys to do a cameo race. Fernando Alonso has always said that he's wanted to always have a go at racing around this track because it is such a beautiful track. The 12-hour, the 6-hour, any production car or supercar racing we see around this track is always amazing. Even hill climbs as well. You've said you've done that a few times yourself as well. But yeah, obviously I'm yet to visit the track. Obviously only living up north in Newcastle, so it's a bit of a drive for me to get down to Bathurst, but it's definitely on the bucket list to see. Obviously now we get these new Gen 3 cars coming in next year in 2023, so that'll be a very exciting time for racing in general. So can't wait to get into Bathurst. But obviously at the top at the moment we have a Xylon 96 over the championship leader in Lunacy in second place. So a nice lap by Xylon. This is the man that we have to keep an eye on, DJ. He's got back-to-back victories. The number 33 GC12 Curry from Robbo Sport Racing. He's got back-to-back victories. He's kind of acting like a bit of a Dishwood in a sense that, you know, he's getting himself dominant victories and putting in the good strategies. So we'll have to wait and see what his time is like. But as we say that, Ando's actually now popped back up into the top in first place. Now we've got Gator, who was the Split 2 winner. So the reason why we have our 15 drivers this evening, there was no pre-qualifying. We did go off the running order that we ran from Saint Croix in round 9. So with Gator, he did win Split 2 at Saint Croix, and he got automatic qualification for Mount Panorama Bathurst this evening, and he's sitting in a nice 12th place there. So obviously want to keep an eye on for the ITS Racing number 28, but so far the 787 in Ando is leading the charge ahead of Xylon and Lunacy.
Yeah, obviously me being second in charge while ITS Racing is gallivanting around the country over in America. He's keeping a little eye on us drivers going and how we're going and stuff like that. We did actually get a big congratulations from him from taking out second in the Teams Championship. So big shout out to ITS there, but obviously being me being 2IC, seeing Gator in main F2, it's definitely a step up to see that car number 28 there, because he's kind of really been off the radar a little bit. We haven't really seen him much around lately, but he has come in and he's got the win last round, so we'll obviously wait and see. He's a little bit off the pace at a 7.3, so obviously coming through Split 2 they are a couple of seconds off the pace, but maybe being here he might be able to, you know, sit in behind some of the drivers and have a look, or you never know, they might have a big accident up the front and he'll come through and take the win. So anything is possible here. It is Bathurst, and when Bathurst bites, it bites you well.
It does bite.
There's this one saying from everyone, and it's called "The mountain always wins," and I can tell you 150% that is 110% correct, because the mountain always wins, and I will stand by that for as long as I live. So obviously you not being here or not come to the track before, you're not really kind of seen it, but watching on TV, you can kind of see that, you know, the big massive crashes that we have had in the 12-hour a couple of years ago, when one of the cars hit the wall up at the run onto Skyline, and then another one come through and hit him in the door. So, and then obviously Scott Pye in the supercars, and yeah, so it's kind of one line. Realistically, it's one line for the whole track, and if you go too wide up the top, kiss your race goodbye, because usually 9 times out of 10 it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, you have to have full trust in the driver next to you that's actually going to give you the racing room, especially even on sim racing. It's very hard to go side by side at the top of the hill. We've done it a few times back in our day, DJ, where we've managed to go side by side, basically from the cutting all the way up to McPhillamy. It's always been a good time, good showing in our Formula cars. But I guess when it comes to league racing, maybe going side by side is not the best option for drivers to get around the track and, you know, make an overtake on their nearest competitor. But as we saw through that coverage, we saw GC12 come up into 5th place there. So he's come from the bottom to 5th. So that's a very good start for him on his first flying lap. As we have a look on with Cylon 96, currently sitting 2nd behind Ando 787, only just though. So he's only a few tenths behind, actually, only a few hundreds behind him. So he's got a little bit more time to find as he exits the Murray's Corner for the final time. Not the best entry that he needed to get, but will he elevate himself up into 1st? No, he doesn't, so he'll stay 2nd. Lunacy is up into 4th place. Slappers, mate, 117 has come through. And now this is another thing as well, DJ. We've seen in the championship for the Formula 2, we see Slappers, actually I'll say Nightwalker 964 and Slappers, mate, 117 battling for 3rd in the championship, as we did see, as now we see Curry go to pole position. But yeah, going back to the topic, Nightwalker's only ahead by 6 points over Slappers, mate, and Slappers has gone up into what is 4th place now. So, and he's 2 spots ahead of Nightwalker. So this could really help him when it comes to sealing 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a one to watch, as you say, and not only being a sorry, just making sure I get this right.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's not only a battle for 1st and 2nd, it's also a battle for, say, 3rd and 4th, as the drivers here are kind of blocking the track. It's not really ideal for these drivers that have just gone past the line, so Zalon really takes his lap a little bit there, so the softs are really starting to wear on him. So that's the other thing in regards to the tyre wear here. Obviously myself didn't race it because I was up in Queensland. I don't know what the tyre wear is like, obviously, from yourself, but I wonder if we will see some of those drivers on the alternate strategies, whether or not it be, say, a soft medium or a medium soft. It's just kind of one we've got to keep an eye out for. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit of a cliffhanger here at the moment, as Ando crosses the line with 42-2, so he didn't better himself, unfortunately. But Curry, Xylon jumps up to 2nd.
Wow, what a lap for Xylon 96 there. The perfect spot that he needs to be. Obviously 3 places ahead of Lunacy and in 2nd place. So all he needs now is he needs the favour of the GT gods to favour him for obviously Lunacy to get a DC. But obviously, as we said, we don't like to have a DC and have a crown a champion in that sense. Obviously, we wanted to have it one on track there. But if it's one on track, then Lunacy will be taking the title back to the Project One Racing Team car entry, car number 19. So yeah, we've got our grid. We've got GC12 Curry on pole position with Xylon 96 in 2nd place, Ando 787 in 3rd, Lunacy in 4th. Nightwalker's actually gone. Oh no, I don't think he's gone ahead of Slappers. I think Slappers went into the pit there. So we've got our drivers in. Hopefully everyone's going to be crossing the lines, finishing their laps, being able to change tyres. But man, what a finale. We've got 16 laps around this track, only 5 laps minimum for the compound of tyres that our drivers are using this evening. So like you said, maybe the medium might be the best option for our drivers, but if not, we might see some fast runners, maybe a Curry or Xylon, maybe go on the soft tyres and just try and run away from the pack.
Yeah, we've seen some alternate strategies in the past couple of weeks with drivers obviously having differences, and they have come through the field, so it'll be one to watch at the moment. So I don't know, Ando's coming past here. He doesn't beat himself, so unfortunately there he doesn't go faster. So anyone wants to continue their lap, they're not exactly going to get one, because there is a bit of a car park up here between turn 3 and 4. So it's
just kind of like the car park we saw in 05 with Murph and Ambrose, without that massive shunt there, trying to go side by side. Obviously, to this day, nobody knows whose fault it was. Obviously, one Ford fans will say it's Murphy's fault. Holden fans will say it was Ambrose's fault. So obviously, no one knows the argument. It's still probably being argued to the day, DJ. So, so it's good to have that bit of rivalry and moments that we've had at Mount Panorama. But as we get ourselves underway, so as we get the confirmation of the order, yes, it is Slappers ahead of Nightwalker in 4th and Nightwalker in 6th. So that'll help him with his championship quest to try and get 3rd place overall.
Yeah, it's that Murphy and Ambrose thing. That was definitely a one for the good and old there. But we have had some pretty some pretty harsh lineups there. Obviously, Scaife and Perkins going in the wall, going up to turn 2, so that's also another one to remember. I think that was very early on in the race, so that's a bit unfortunate, but I guess that's racing, and that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. So we kind of move on and go from there. But until then, that is our grid set. We do have Curry on pole with Xylon P2 and then Ando rounding out the top 3 there. So I'll get this show on the road and we'll be all set for the next 16 laps around the beautiful Mount Panorama, about 2.5 hours west of Sydney.
So the stage is set for the Trackstars Formula 2 Championship. We've got GC12 Curry on pole position with Xylon in second, Ando in third, Slappers in fourth, Lunacy, the unofficial champion, in fifth place. But can he hold on to his placing at the end of the 16-lap race as we get ourselves 5 lights? And it's lights out, green flag racing. He gets himself a very poor start there, so he drops down to the back, but it looks like up ahead, Xylon 96 has got into the lead. He's actually gone ahead of Curry, so what a move by Xylon 96 to go around the outside of GC12 Curry with Ando 787 right behind, getting pressure from his teammate at Slappers 117, so maybe they might play the strategy game and try and maybe get Ando. But we see Curry going for an inside move. He's getting that slipstream. Xylon goes around the outside, contact's been made, and Xylon goes around the track. He's got full 360, and he's made contact, I believe, with Ando 787, and not the start that Xylon wanted, and I think that's his quest over, DJ.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there for Xylon, but as I said, the mountain always wins, but the race isn't over till the fat lady sinks. That's also what they say. So there's another 15 and a half laps to go, so it'll definitely be an interesting one to see if Xylon can play his strategy correctly and power on through the field, because he's only 11 seconds off the pace, so off the leaders, so hopefully he can work his way through the field at the moment while he's on the mediums and make the most of them. So
There's such a very unlucky start as we see Rugworth go for a full 360 there, so definitely not the start that that Rugworth wanted, but the start that Nightwalker wanted was through all of that carnage, moves up into second place there and 2 spots ahead of Slappers mate, so this will give him third overall in the Formula 2 Championship, so he'll be wanting to keep his nose clean. He's been having a very good season, DJ. A rough start for him, a rough introduction to the Formula 2 racing this year with not so impressive results in Daytona and Dragon Trail Seaside and Interlagos, but as he started to get more confident in his car, he started to build confidence, getting countless podiums and racing with the front guys, and hopefully he might be able to generate himself a win later this evening.
Yeah, fingers crossed he can. It's obviously going to come down to the wire with this one, I think. But another thing as well, Xylon is on the mediums. Oh, later gator there, gets a little bit wide on the grass.
That is a very common mistake to do, DJ. Even on the game, you just run wide, you think you've got the grip, and as soon as you run out onto the curbing, then it just says, see you later, pal, 360, no scope. So very unfortunate for Gator, just trying to recuperate, just try and keep his head down, keep it calm, and just try and see how further up you can make yourself up into the grid. But Xylon is outside the top 10 with Lunacy in third place, but leading the way for the Robo Sport camp. Another Robo Sport driver in GC12 Curry leading the way by 4.3 seconds over Nightwalker in second from WRT, Lunacy from Project One racing team in third place, Slappers for WTCC in fourth with Ando rounding up the top 5.
Yeah, we've got a bit of a mix of tyres here too. So we've got Curry on the softs. He's just getting a bit of overtake there down the straight to get himself a couple more tenths on Nightwalker. But we've got Nightwalker on the mediums, and the lovely GT7 gameplay shows that he's locking a brake all the way down the straight. But Lunacy is here. He's in the slip, so wonder if he's going to make a bit of a move here coming into the chase.
Well, Nightwalker's not going to defend that, so Lunacy will go through into second place. Or actually, he will defend that. He goes around the outside. Oh, contact made between the two drivers. But look behind is Ando 787. He might be able to get any advantage. He's taken onto the grass, DJ. Try and make a move, and he's gone around and he's made that move stick. So wonderful move there by Ando on Nightwalker on the exit of the chase and going into Murray Corner. That was beautiful. Textbook move there. He almost had to go onto the pit lane to make the move.
Yeah, obviously you got to try and do what you can to make the move stick, but He did have the softs as well, so he did have a bit of a grip advantage over Nightwalker there, but one little tiny mistake and you can drop a couple of positions, as we see here from Nightwalker going from 2nd to 4th. But don't count any of these drivers out at the moment. Obviously we have done lap 3 of 16, so we'll see some drivers start to pit on lap 5, but the question is, how long will those softs last compared to those mediums?
Absolutely. I think we projected on in the main series, we projected about 6 laps on the soft tyres, where we started to see a drop in pace and where we started to get a little bit slippery, especially coming down here through Skyline, the S's and the Dippos. Basically, it's where the car's really unsettled. Obviously, you can have a snap oversteer at any given moment, whether it's fresh or worn tyres. You can really get a sense of oversteer on the car, and the feeling is not great. So these guys will have to be very careful, try and maybe put their brake balance all the way up to the front to try and reduce the tyre wear on the rear. But obviously, it has been a very challenging year, DJ. I don't think anyone, especially not even our main series boys, we haven't been able to find the cure to how to fix the tyre wear on the rears, because it turns out this game is very harsh when it comes to rear tyre wear.
Yeah, usually it's the front compared to the rear, but as we go here, we've got a 3-car battle here for 4th place. So we've got Nightwalker, Slappers and Rusty Nut. So Rusty's on the soft, Slappers and Nightwalker on the medium here. So Rusty's definitely going to have a bit of pace advantage over these next two, but as you said, look at that rear tyre wear there. It's definitely wearing, you'd say, kind of really at double what the mediums are. So it's going to be it's going to be a bit of a gamble here, I guess, for some of these drivers. But I think he's starting to get on the overtake there. But would you really use the overtake if you're in Slapper's overtake? I think if that was me, I'd kind of just try and go with him. But yeah, Rusty's kind of one that I thought may have been up the field a little bit more, but he's doing pretty well here in P6. So
yeah, I think he had a bad qualifying. As we see Brian have a bit of a DC there. That's very unfortunate for him. He was running up just inside the top 8, DJ, so very unlucky for him to not be up there. As we see, so he was up into 7th, and then all of a sudden a DC or maybe a disconnect, and unfortunately happened to him. But that's the end of Isuzu Brian's Trackstars Formula 2 campaign, ending in a DC. It's very unfortunate, as we see drivers like we see Zylan still not making maybe slow progression towards the front. He's about, what is that, 31 seconds behind the leader in 11th?
Yeah, so for what I can see, he's on a 155, so he may have made a bit of a mistake, because he has dropped off the back of Fireboarding and Ruggers, so he may have possibly had a bit of a mistake coming into the chase. I'm not too sure, I didn't quite catch it, but he really goes real loose into there, and that's not hard to do. That is not hard to do at all. Obviously, with the change of gradient there, it makes that rear of the car really loose. And being the formulas, they're already loose in the rear end as it is, and that just kind of something you don't really want coming into that corner. Obviously, because there is just concrete wall, and concrete wall runs a little bit deep there. Loses about a 10th or so to Fireboarding.
And he has been saying to me as well that he hasn't been feeling the greatest. He did say to me, we were trying to give him some pre-race talk, that he said he's been feeling sick like a dog. So basically, he's like driving with his with one eye closed and the other one trying to stay wide awake. So he's going to be a little bit on the receiving end when it comes to the end of the race. He'll be wanting to make sure this race finishes as early as possible, so he can take his old Nurofen or Panadol after the race. So we'll be able to see him. We'll absolutely see him for the Touring Car Championship in TS2. But we've got a bit of a battle here going on with Lunacy and Anders. Anders closing up very quickly onto the back of Lunacy. So I wonder if I'm guessing Ando's on the soft tyres as well.
Yeah, Ando is on the softs, but Lunacy's on the medium. So he's starting to get a bit of gap here to Curry. So that 9 seconds pace there, we obviously did see Lunacy a little bit far off the pace in qualifying on the soft tyre, so maybe he might have a bit of pace on the medium compared to Curry. But being on alternate strategies, I think Lunacy kind of really would have rathered Curry be on the medium at the same time, but that's a bit unfortunate there, so we'll wait and see how long he can run on those mediums for.
Absolutely, and the pit window is now open for our drivers this evening, coming on to lap 5 and 6. Obviously, so now we see Brian joining the lobby again. So obviously it was a disconnect. So very unfortunate for Isuzu Brian being up in 7th place. So hard luck for you, mate. Obviously, we'll get to see you again in the TS3 Touring Car Championship later on in the calendar season. But looking through the progress, we've got Xylon coming up into 10th place there. So he's made up 1 position ahead of Flyboarding. So, like we said, not the start that he wanted. He almost made a move around GC12 Curry going into turn 2 there. Obviously, you and I have done plenty of inside and outside, side-by-side racing through that corner, but especially when it comes to the early stages on cold tyres, you don't want to really be on the outside of that corner.
Yeah, especially Xylon being on mediums too. You don't want to be out there. If I was him, I kind of would have really defended that inside line. Make Curry go around the long way on the softs, but that's just me, I guess. But it's kind of a bit hard to make the situation and assumption on the go. But yeah, I guess a bit unfortunate. But he did keep a hold of second. But yeah, as we saw at the start, he did get a bit tangled with a couple of other drivers. So we'll have
a change in the position there. We see Ando now actually go ahead of Lunacy, so he's actually put a gap on him. So maybe a mistake through the S's and the dipper for Lunacy, but Endo's up into second, and Lunacy is in third. And as I see, a name that's gone down the order as well. Nightwalker 964 here, Slappers into fourth. So a big mistake happened for Nightwalker. We did not see that, and yeah, he's down into 6th place and Slappers in 4th, so that's going to help out massively when it comes. That's definitely turned the tables in the championship as we see Curry enter the pit lane.
Yeah, so Curry's coming to the pit lane, Ando's coming to the pit lane, and they're both the 2 soft runners, so we're definitely an interesting one there. But I did see Nightwalker get a bit of front aero damage, so he may have hit the wall at the elbow or somewhere up the top, so it's a bit unfortunate.
Okay.
So
Curry exits the pit lane now. He comes out into 4th place behind his teammate and Rusty Nutt. So, wow, so even to get clear air and be in 4th place, that just shows what the speed that he had on the soft tyres. And obviously incredible pace there by GC12 Curry. Obviously, we've said in the broadcast over the last couple of weeks that had we seen him in the early stages of the championship, we could have been seeing a new contender, or a different contender for Lunacy's title.
Yeah, I think for me personally, it would have been definitely a really good fight between Curry and Lunacy, but I'm kind of yet to see what kind of pace Curry can have in the touring cars. Obviously, going up against a couple of the other drivers, we do have say Mint Matt, all that kind of stuff in there. So Viper Z, Mint Matt. Hopefully Sea Dog might join us for 1 or 2 rounds. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, as he is in the Nissan. So I did just have a quick look there. So
yep.
He's in. It's going to be
Sport, the handy Robo Sport Nissan. So we'll wait and see what he's like in touring car. In the Formula, we know he's dominant. He's won the last 2 races here at Trackstars Racing Series, but we'll have to wait and see what he's like in a Nissan Group 2 car. As we start to think about pit stops for some of our drivers that are on the mediums. Well, we're on lap 7 of 16 as we see yellow flags here. That's Rusty Nuts that's gone white. He's also on the soft tyres. So those tyres, you can definitely tell those tyres are gone, and he'll have to come into pit very soon, which he does right now. So a very wise move for Rusty Nuts, but obviously maybe a lap too long, don't you think, DJ? Maybe just lock to rear brakes or lock to front lefts going into the chase.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible coming into the chase, being at such high speed, and then you got to hit the brakes and make him go onwards of, say, 1,000, 1,200 degrees. So it's not often that you don't see anyone lock a brake into the chase. It's probably very pretty high percentage of that happening. So it's a bit unfortunate for him, but he's come out just behind Aussie. But
he just didn't get that clear air, which is unfortunate. But
Aussie hasn't pitted yet too, so that also.
Yeah. And I guess in the way, clear air is very crucial in these cars, because had he not made that mistake, he definitely would have been ahead of Aussie, absolutely. But now he's just got to try and get through an obstacle. Maybe Aussie might not be thinking of a pit stop for the next maybe lap also when he changes onto the soft tyres, because for Rusty to be back down in the dirty air, it's not really nice for a couple of laps, because that'll definitely wear out the tyres more.
Yeah, obviously you probably know as yourself, the aero washing these things is pretty critical.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to be caught in a huge pack, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we probably saw that at St. Croix. So a couple of drivers hit the wall because they were in a bit of aero wash there. But the aero wash is definitely something that drivers don't like, and I can tell you that much. I don't like it either. So if people say that aero wash doesn't exist, they're lying. Coming from obviously myself, we've done it on GT. Me, Pat, Papa, all that kind of stuff. We do it on iRacing and the aero wash. Yeah, it's a bit of a painful thing.
Yeah, it's very hard to tune around it, like whether you go for a really high downforce car or just trying to make a car that can go around at least a track and just try and sit behind. But with these high downforce Group 2 cars that will be coming in very soon, that's obviously going to be very hard for our drivers to try and negotiate a pass or an overtake or try to have that awesome wheel-to-wheel racing. But we did see back there, or up ahead, we did see Ando and Nightwalker going wheel-to-wheel for a little bit there. But Ando's now up ahead with Nightwalker dropping down the field there. So his day's not going great, DJ. He's locked up. He must have locked up. He lost a lot of ground to Ando because Ando was right on his tail here. And if he's locked up and he's lost a few positions, if Slappers is got his head down or they're in the cobs together, he'll be saying, Nightwalker's made a mistake. This is your time to shine, Slappers.
Yeah, from what I can see, Nightwalker picked up some front aero and front left damage too, so maybe something might have happened. They might have got in a bit of a tangle, so hopefully not. We don't like seeing that kind of driving there, so it'll definitely be one to see.
Now he's gone full 360. I thought he saved it for a second, but oh my goodness, that is a very harsh thing. He's still not able to get the car around, and his day has just gone from bad to worse for Nightwalker 964. Third coming into the round, third place in the championship, and he's just smoking his tyres, just saying to his crew, get me off these tyres. I want a fresh set of soft tyres because I can't do this anymore. But now we see Lunacy enter the pit lane, changing from mediums to soft, so this will be a crucial one. And Slappers mate 117, so I wonder if that was the key move or the key call made by Ando to Slappers to make that move. But man, you've got to definitely feel bad for Nightwalker 964 and the actions that took place at McPhillamy.
Yeah, that's not hard to do at all. You drop a tyre on the grass there, and your day can be done. Obviously, as we did see there. But Latigator gets a little bit in the way there from Curry, but good work there, mate. Obeying to the blue flags. That's what we like to see. So we don't like to see any slower drivers holding up some faster drivers. We're all out there to have fun, so it's no use ruining someone else's day. So hats off to Gator there, obeying the blue flags. But a very interesting one I've got down here is you've got Gordok, but what I've just spotted is Ando and Lunacy.
So Lunacy is definitely caught up on the, so he's definitely made the overcut work very nicely. Obviously his worn medium tyres made it a little bit quicker compared to Ando's fresh tyres, and now he's on the soft tyres. So Lunacy just has to think about being patient here. He doesn't want to try and make ambitious moves. He is going to be taking out the championship ahead of Xylon 96 this evening if he keeps his place. But with Lunacy on the soft tyres with Ando's medium tyres and with lap traffic ahead of him in Gordok 69. As Gordok gets a bit untailed here. And contact's made again. So that's what happens with lap cars, ladies and gentlemen. So Ando will be absolutely fuming over the radio that Gordok 69 did not pull out of that anytime sooner, because my goodness, that turned out to be a costly one for Ando 787 and for WTCC. He would be absolutely fuming over the team radio.
Oh, definitely, mate. Like, you know as well as myself, if you've got lap traffic, the idea for them is to just get out of the way as soon as possible. But another thing here, Zolan has been mugging away with that overtake on those mediums. So he's pulled himself up into 5th place, but the question is
where he hasn't pitted yet.
He hasn't pitted yet, no. So he's still on the mediums.
Okay.
So hopefully we should see him pit within the next 2 laps. So
I think we'll see him in the pits right now. Yeah, we do. So he's coming in with about 5 laps to go. So this is the crucial, or 6 laps to go rather. So this is the crucial point where he will be able to come in, change tyres, and run to the finish line. But man, you got to feel bad for Ando there. He was having such a good run there. I think he'll still keep. Actually, no, he won't keep 3rd place because Slappers Mate has now just gone ahead of him. So I guess in a way, helping out for the team, but obviously for a personal point of view, obviously when you're racing for a team, DJ, you want to have the best result yourself. But usually when you're going to play the team game, obviously you have to make some sort of sacrifices and try and help your teammate out in taking either a placing ahead of your rival or even so for a championship.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I don't exactly know how clicked on Ando is with slappers in the championship and stuff like that, but I guess it was just a bit unfortunate there with Gordok coming out of the dipper. I'm not too sure, obviously, what happened because we couldn't see a replay, but I did see Gordok get a bit of a slow exit out of the dipper. But
Yeah.
really, that for me kind of would be the following car there. Obviously, not taking it away from Ando, but if you are following like a slower car through such, what would you say, a single file racetrack, you'd kind of really maybe brake a little bit earlier or something like that. But yeah, it's very unfortunate there for Ando, obviously losing that battle there with Lunacy, but that's racing, I guess, and that's why we have incident reports. So if they need to, they'll fill them out. We'll get the stewards to look at them, and we'll see how they go. But at the moment, I think I saw Lunacy on a purple. As I say that, he goes purple.
So. Yeah, there you go, 140.8. So he's definitely got the pace on his soft tyres there, but he's about 11.1 behind Curry. So obviously the strategy going from softs to mediums definitely helped out Curry, obviously getting that early advantage. Racing side by side with Xylon 96, capitalising on Xylon's mistake at Griffin's, and yeah, just pulling away, not looking back, at 11.2 at the moment. So he's definitely got the pace, he's definitely got the skills. We definitely cannot wait to see him in the Touring Car Championship. But as we run through the order, we do have Curry leading the way, 11 seconds ahead of Lunacy in second place, the champion-elect, with 5 laps to go, with 4.5 laps to go, with Slapper's mate 117 in third place, about to seal third place in the championship as well, if the order stays as it is. Ando 787, the top driver outside of the top. Oh, actually no, it's Curry the top driver outside the top 8, but Ando's the second best out of the drivers outside the top 8, with Rusty Nuts in 5th place. So good showing by Rusty. Obviously, as we saw drop rounds come into play, he actually moved ahead of his teammate in fly boarding in the championship. He's moved himself up into 7th place. So very nice little bragging rights competition between those two drivers. Xylon 96, after that lap 1 incident and accident that he had, he's actually moved in, clawed himself up the field into 6th place. Aussie Hypnotic is actually moved up nicely into 7th, with Nightwalker, what could have been a huge moment at McPhillamy and just getting on too much of the curb or the back end just sliding out, and it's just day went from bad to worse there. Rugworth in 9th, and Soul Reaper from WRT rounding up the top 10 with Flyboarding in 11th. Later Gator a lap down in 12th place, with Griffo in 13th, Gordok in 14th, and our 1 DNF in Isuzu Brian. So 15 drivers this evening, 14 on track, but still leading the way with 3 laps to go, or 3 and a bit laps to go. It is GC12 Curry over Lunacy and Slappers.
Yeah, it's definitely been a solid showing here by Curry, but from what I can see, he looks a little bit more faster than Lunacy up the top, but he's gaining a couple of tenths as we see. But he was I think it was 11.1 a lap and a half ago, but he's got it down to 8.5. So if he can keep up this pace, I'm definitely going to be looking onto what that time will be. But at the same time, how much of that soft tyre is he going to use doing that? Because he's 5 tenths up on his time, and he's on for a low for 140 here. So this is a very, very quick lap for the F2.
And it looked very taily there going through the dipper there. So he's really wringing the neck out of the 19 Project 1 racing team, Delara SF19, coming through to Mountain Straight here. DJ, obviously you've driven around this track, whether it's a road car or in a race or in a hot lap car. Obviously going down Cottonrod, it definitely is a wonderful sight to see. Just a long straight, and then you can just see the top of the hill as we go on board with Ando 787. So obviously from here you don't get to see much until you get past the sign, past the banner here. Then you get to see the whole city of Bathust on the right hand side, and then to the left you're going towards Orange and Lithgow.
Yeah, I think really you see more coming into the S's on the drop of Skyline, but because you got not much time to react, you don't really get to see it. But yeah, if anyone is at Bathurst, go up to Skyline, and they have a bit of a platform there, and you can see, as you said, Bathurst, Lithgow, Kelso, all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a track that anyone of any age is going to enjoy. So you can be 1, you can be 100, you can be 200, anyone is going to enjoy Bathurst as long as there's some race cars. But one thing people don't realise is how much gradient there is with the track, per se, going up Mountain Straight and down Conrod. The car actually shifts slightly to the left going over the humps, because
Okay.
because of the gradient and how it is, and wind getting underneath. But yeah, it's definitely, even if you can't get on there on a hot lap car, take your car around there doing 60 kilometers an hour, because there are police patrolling that all day every day, and there are hidden speed cameras there, which I'm not going to tell anyone where they are, because that would put me out to be. But yeah, so it's one track that I'll see if I can get a driver here, if we can see this site we're talking about. So you come over here and you can just see that skyline there over the side there. So it's definitely,
like you said, they did put a ramp there as well. That's only a new feature that they've just added as well.
yeah, they've added a viewing platform there, and I was up there for the 12-hour this year. So that was definitely something different, because obviously normally I'm officialing, but I did spectate the 12-hour this year, and it was a very awesome thing to do. But we are trying to get some of the Track Stars lads up there for the 12-hour, get them camping together and stuff like that. So if anyone's interested, we are trying to get everyone up for the 12-hour for next year. So hopefully we'll see some international drivers back next year, because obviously COVID kind of ruined everything, and we only had, say, 20 cars for the 12-hour this year. But still, it's just the atmosphere of Bathust. It's just something incredible. But back to the action here.
Back to the action, and my goodness, he's got about 4 laps in a row in the 1 minute 40s, and I think GC12 Curry's last lap was a 1:43. Yes, it was. So he's gained about at least 2.5 to 3 seconds on Curry. Lunacy has, and that gap just dropped down quickly. It's that 3.2 seconds behind Curry. That's incredible pace. Like, the pace has got the confidence that the man has, and he's only got about a lap and a quarter to go, DJ. Obviously, we don't want to write the checkbooks out yet to see who's going to win the bets or with the Monopoly money. Can Lunacy, with only a lap and a bit to go, can he actually start thinking about making a move or making an overtake on the final lap here for Trackstars Formula 2 for round 11 of this championship season?
Anything is possible at the mountain. I will reflect back to 2015, I believe it was. Chaz Mostert, Paul Morris didn't lead a lap all race. We're in the pits, we're in the wall, had 12 pit stops, and they ended up passing Jamie Whincup on the final lap to take the win. So they didn't lead a lap all day. Oh, Luna gets on the grass there. That's really not going to help his hold there. But he lost 2 seconds in that lap. So
he's losing time. Those tyres are wearing out on him. So I think we can keep our money safe, DJ. I don't think we're going to get any moves on Lunacy and Curry for the final lap. But like you said, never say never. It is the final lap here for Trackstars Formula 2 as we go around Mount Panorama Bathurst for the final time. GC12 Curry leading the way ahead of Lunacy. Slapper's mate 117. As it stands, he will take 3rd place in the championship ahead of Nightwalker 964 with Ando in 4th, Rusty in 5th. Cylon not getting close enough, trying to get close to Rusty but can't. He's still in 6th place with Aussie and Hypnotic in 7th. Nightwalker in 8th, Rugworth in 9th, and Soul Reaper in 10th place. Flyboarding 11th, Griffo 12th, Later Gator 13th, and Gordok in 14th and sitting in last place. But back to the action through the dipper for the final time. What a season has been, DJ. What a drive it has been for GC12 Curry. Obviously, can't wait to see what he's like in the touring cars, but coming down Conron Straight, it's definitely going to be a great victory and a 3-peat for GC12 Curry.
Yeah, certainly would have liked to see what his potential would have been if he was here for a whole calendar season, because he was so dominant when he did join late. But a bit unfortunate there for Lunacy, obviously not getting the win at Bathurst, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. Made a couple of mistakes there, and as I said, the mountain always won. The mountain bit him. But as he comes around the final corner,
as we see GC12 Curry crossing the finish line in 1st place, he'll take the victory in a 3-peat. But the main winner and the winner of the Trackstars Formula 2 Championship goes to Lunacy for the Project 1 racing team. He is our 2022 Trackstars Formula 2 champion. The car number 19 taking out 1st place, with Slappers Mate 117 taking out 3rd place in the championship there. So big congratulations to Slappers and WTCC, with Ando coming in 4th, Rusty in 5th, but the champion of Trackstars Formula 2 belongs to Lunacy from Project 1 Racing in the car number 19, Dallara SF19.
Yeah, that was definitely an outstanding season. Obviously to be joined with with you in the combox for the whole thing. It definitely kept me on my toes, being up here, let alone being in the car. So it's certainly one that always made everything exciting. Obviously, compared to last year, the drivers are a lot faster, they're a lot cleaner. It just makes that driving, the racing so much better. So it's
Absolutely. And as we see the drivers coming through, we did see Nightwalk Cross in 8th place. So, obviously, had he not had that moment at McPhillamy, could he have actually challenged lappers towards the end there? We just don't know, because I think he just went out a lap too long on those medium tyres, at least for his pace, and his setup obviously went the wrong direction on setup and maybe make those tyres worse. But as we see the drivers crossing lines, Soul Reaper, Fly Balding, Later Gator, Griffo, and Gordok 69, and our 14 drivers with Isuzu Brian DNFing on lap 6 there. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We have concluded our Formula seasons, concluded our Track Stars Formula 2 season as well. But our new champion in Lunacy for car number 19 for Project One Racing Team will take the trophy home and bring it back to Project One Racing Team.
Yeah, it was an outstanding season by Lunacy there. It just really shows that consistency can get you places. But he did kind of have a few hiccups through the season. Obviously, flicking back to Nürburgring in the wet, he kind of pushed a little bit too hard, made a couple of mistakes, and ended up finishing down the order. But had he kind of finished a little bit better there, he may have been able to seal that at Suzuka. But a bit unfortunate for the other drivers. But a big congratulations here to GC12 Curry for getting the win, but even bigger congratulations to Lunacy for taking out the Trackstars Formula 2 Championship.
Yeah, absolutely a great effort for Lunacy. Obviously, he's just left the lobby, so he did say to me he does have a very important dinner that he has to go to. Maybe an important dinner with Viper Z, maybe getting a full-time slot into satellite racing. You know, who knows? Who knows what it could be? Who knows what that main dinner could be? Could be a dinner with Liam. Who knows? You never know. But it's okay. He's done himself a very good job. Obviously, he deserves it. Obviously, a long season it has been. Obviously, so many delays throughout the whole season. DJ, we were meant to start up in April, but obviously through the delays of the lobby settings, of the lobby itself, and the way that the cars actually handle, and not everyone being able to drive it properly, we had a bit of a delay in the start, but we got there in the end. We got the BOP that we wanted, and it produced some awesome racing in 2022.
Yeah, I think how many months? I think it was probably 2 months or 3 or 4 months that we had to keep it on hold because the lobbies just weren't correct and nothing was stable enough that we could kind of really hold a league. But the persistence of admin pulled through, and persistence of all the drivers as well, kind of cooperating with us at the same time, really helped us kind of keep a calm head and getting the season underway. So they helped us with some testing and with some lobbies and stuff like that. So it was good to see we could get a full calendar season completed on the, I wouldn't say fantastic, but the very not too bad Gran Turismo 7. So it was a good season for all. Unfortunately for some drivers, they probably didn't finish as high as what they wanted to, but it's a big congratulations there to Diswood, obviously taking out the Formula Trackstars Championship, CP taking out the Teams Championship, and Lunacy taking out the Trackstars Formula 2 Series. But yeah, I definitely would have liked to see what Curry would have had and what potentially would have had for the end, coming into the end of that if he was there from the start.
Absolutely, and obviously you have to give big ups to, at least for myself, I'll definitely give a big raps to Xylon 96. What a season he's had. He's definitely had obviously as well, DJ, from last season, that he had to take himself a bit of a break from the racing league, where he actually had a lot of real life problems going on at the moment at the time, obviously with some family and work as well. So basically for him, it was a little bit hard for him to actually get any time in to basically commit to racing. But once we saw him come back in 2022, it was an incredible showing. He won 2 in a row and won 3 races in total. So it was great to see Xylon 96 being back up the front and racing the likes of lunacy and taking it to a final race.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty solid in order for him to do that. And as I say that, you'll just need to unmute yourself, Lunacy. He is joining us in the combox, mate. Big congratulations there on taking out that championship.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely there, Lunacy. Congratulations on winning the Trackstars Formula 2 Championship for Season 3 of the Formula Series, the number 19 Project 1 Racing Team Dallara. What an amazing season you've had. You've basically had 2 wins, 5 podiums this season. Tell me, obviously, it's been a long season for us, obviously, trying to get the season underway. But just tell me, did you think you would end up being a champion with the competition that was laid out in front of you?
To be honest, no. I think I jumped in pretty late. I think I was a late entry. I could be wrong there. But to do it on my debut is pretty good. Pretty proud of it.
Yeah, you definitely stepped up. Obviously, from the first round. Obviously, we did say. Or see rather, from your first race at Daytona. Obviously, didn't have the strongest performance there. Obviously, coming up against drivers like Xylon 96, Darks 174, and then you had other drivers coming in that were part-time drivers. So, reflecting on that round 1 to now that we've just completed our season for round 11, did you have any concerns about any drivers that were gonna take it to you when it came to the championship? Obviously, you said that you didn't see yourself being a championship threat, but obviously, as the season progressed, you solidified yourself as being the number 1 throughout the whole season.
Yeah, to be honest, after probably the first 3 rounds, I think it was just Dogs and Xylon, I believe. I thought they were just way too quick, but over the season, getting used to the car, just also found out how setups work, which is pretty good.
Yeah, and talking about setups, mate, I think DJ and I we were very stunned with your pace, especially in the wet weather. Obviously, we saw your most dominant performances, at least from us in the combox. We saw was during your wet races. We couldn't believe it. Nürburgring in Germany, Red Bull, and Spa as well. So some would call you the wet weather master in these conditions, but obviously the confidence you had in those races and the changeable conditions that you just adapted to pretty quickly was second to none. So did you as a driver, did you actually think yourself that you were very highly rated in the wet, or was it from previous outings in other leagues or in this league? And also, how did you feel behind the wheel when it came to those racings, or when it came to racing and those wet tracks?
Controller, not behind the wheel. Controller. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
absolutely right. You were.
Not really. I did I believe a couple Porsche rounds last season for Trackstars, and one was a Spa race, and I was probably 10 seconds off the pace per lap. So I didn't really think that. This game, I don't know what the difference is. Maybe it was just because of the downforce. Maybe I just chucked on a lot of downforce and hoped for the best, and it seemed to control itself, and I was just kind of steering it.
Yeah, obviously, because especially in the Nürburgring race, you just seemed to be all, that pace just seemed to be yours. I think it was about, I don't know, I think you're about like a second clear of the car in second place, and I think you took pole position quite easily in that race. But it's just obviously unfortunate for you that just a lot of mistakes crept up in that quest to actually take a dominant victory. But obviously, you did take a victory in Spa in those changeable conditions. But yeah, obviously, had you had a few more race wins in those changeable conditions, the championship would have been wrapped up sooner than later.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Obviously, I learned from that race. There was just too many mistakes, and then I got a wide word from Woodsy saying I just need to control myself and not make more mistakes. And then I learned that. I made the spin at Red Bull Ring, but still finished in a solid position. Only made one mistake that race, so I just kept learning, making sure to control myself.
Absolutely, and those races were incredible and great to see those performances, but especially that race amongst yourself and Xylon 96 with a few laps to go. I remember calling that with DJ in the combox between you guys at Red Bull Ring. It was an incredible race towards the finish line, and then obviously I think a bit of lap traffic or something caught up at the back end of the circuit. But what was it like how did you see him as a driver throughout the whole season, obviously being a threat to the championship that you became at the end of this round.
Yeah, I think I was with him for not the first half, definitely the first half. It was all him and Doug's, I believe. But then I think, like I have for the last couple, I think he's just had some bad quality positions, and then it's hard to make up positions after that.
Absolutely right, and yeah, so obviously he definitely pushed you along. Obviously you trying to find a few tenths over him trying to find tenths over you, and yeah, just produced an awesome battle amongst you guys. But let's reflect back throughout your season that made you the champion and the Track Stars Formula 2. So what was your greatest moment or best win from this season?
It would definitely be Spa. I was getting worked up over Ando. I think he had pretty good pace. I think sadly he lagged out or had some sort of issue, and then just controlling the race from there was pretty hard in the changeable conditions.
Yeah, I think he did make a bit of a mistake in the pit lane. I think he did change to dry tires instead of the wet when it went from dry to wet. So I think he made a bit of a mistake on the controller on the option settings when it came to the changeable conditions. But out of the driver field, except for obviously Zyla 96, who was your nearest contender, out of the driver field besides him, who did you find in that Formula field that you thought he's quick, he's talented, and he's a potential to actually win victories and challenge me for victories, and even a driver that you think there could be the future for Formula 2 racing?
So it was definitely Dogs as well. I think he missed a couple of rounds. Um, I don't remember Nightwalker near the start of the season, but he definitely started to come strong. And then I believe also Slappers.
Yeah, among Slappers and Nightwalker, they definitely picked up their pace towards at least past the first few rounds. Like yourself, they basically found their pace, they found their form, and yeah, Nightwalker started to rack up podiums and top fives consistently, and Slappers mate as well. So, it's great to see those drivers battling it out. It actually turned out to be Slappers mate getting ahead of Nightwalker in the championship for P3 there overall. So it was a good on. It was great work for Slappers mate to be ahead of Nightwalker to seal out third in the championship. But also, obviously, speaking on the topic of drivers, did you have any memorable battles at all throughout the whole race? Did you have any great side-by-side racing or a race that you thought, I'm quicker than this guy, but I just missed out on that, win, or I missed out on that second or third place?
You're testing my memory.
You've just come off track, and we just thrown you down the ballpark.
He's just gone onto the podium, mate. He's gone onto the podium, and now we're post-race interview. So it's gotta pick his brain and see where it is. But I think for me personally, as well, did you feel kind of threatened by Curry if he was in for the whole season, per se? Obviously, with his performances over the last kind of say couple of rounds that he has jumped in.
Yeah, 100%. I think it would be very close by the end. I believe I'd be able to hold in against him. In the past couple of races, some things haven't gone my way with either it's myself or something I can't control. But besides that, yeah, chasing him down's always fun. Chasing anyone's down is very good.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely showed some great battles and great memories there. But throughout the whole season as well, you actually made cameo appearances for the satellite racing and the Formula Trackstar season. So, going off by a question, obviously trying to adapt to two different cars, two different power and weight ratios. Obviously, did you think the racing in the main series actually gave you that bit of extra pace when it came back to Formula 2 racing, and vice versa? When you did a Formula 2 race, it then helped you with the learning, the setup to transfer over to main series? Obviously, one race that starts at 6 o'clock and one race starts at 8 p.m. So did you find a bit of a difference or find a bit more comfortable racing the two categories at the same time and thinking, this is where I can actually extract the full potential of my setup when it came to a racetrack?
Yeah, it was very good being able to race blows, and I'm glad that I got that chance to do that. It wasn't like a test session per se for racing in Formula 2, but I did learn that maybe I can carry a bit more speed through that corner and then do it couple hours later in the next series, which really helped.
Yeah, so definitely, obviously, when it came to that, because you did actually all 11 races in the end of it, so that turned out to be amazing signing for Satellite Racing to have you as the super sub, the Nico Hulkenberg of Track Stars, obviously racing all the time, getting called upon. Obviously, I think you did one race for CP Motorsports as well there, so you're definitely the man for someone to call upon when it came to getting a driver.
I think
In a sense, basically you're having a driver away, and then you're there just to pick up the phone and say, you know what, I'm ready to race.
I think he filled for the Woodsy at Red Bull, if my memory serves me correct.
Yes, he did. He did fill for Woodsy that
yeah.
race. But no, you did. But no, you did very well. Like obviously, you did finish P4 in the Formula Track Stars. Obviously having a bit of that unfortunate disconnect in at Suzuka. Hopefully those memories didn't haunt you coming into this round. Thinking, I had a DC in the Formula Track Stars, but fingers crossed, please don't break out on me, internet, please.
Yeah, I've no idea what that said. I forgot who said it, but maybe it's something to do with the cables or something, but you'll have to figure out. But,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it held on for the whole 16 laps, and here you are as Track Stars Formula 2 champion. So big congratulations to you, mate. So thanks for joining us in the Combox and providing us a compelling insight of your season in the Track Stars Formula 2 Championship. Good luck with the upcoming Track Stars Touring Cars TS2 Championship, and obviously, hopefully, get to see you in the main series. Obviously, in a way, if you have to fill in for one of the satellite boys, we can't wait to see what you can do in the main series. But good luck to you, and big congratulations for winning the championship.
Cheers, boys.
So that wraps up our evening tonight, DJ. So what a great season that we've had, calling the commentary and all the action in Track Stars Formula 2. There we had Lunacy winning the championship ahead of Zylo 96. And then in the live ladder, we have Slapper's Mate 117 taking out third place ahead of Nightwalker 964. And then Soul Reaper in fifth place.
Yeah, that was definitely a very exciting season. Obviously, we don't have some updated standings, so I can only give you what current standings are there. But yeah, it's definitely been an exciting season, and for me to be in the Combox, obviously with you for the what would be second season running. I'm pretty happy to be here. But coming into the touring car season, you will have some different people in the Combox for the main series. So we have had Broccolili and Roses. I think we even had Venti jump in for one or two there. So the lovely Trackstars owner and Big Doggy It's Racing. He will be back this Thursday. So he'll be there, he'll be streaming, and who knows, mate, we might even see him jump in the Combox for the TS2 and join us. So it'll be good to see him back on home soil. I know he's gallivanting all around America, going to some sprint car races and NASCAR and all that kind of stuff. So that's definitely something that I'd love to do in the near future. But yeah, it's been an exciting season, I think, and it's been better than last year to me personally. Obviously with just not only the commentating but the racing as well, we've gotten faster and everyone's kind of helping everyone and making each other get faster and faster. So it's going to be good to see what kind of potential Trackstars will have in the near future, say in probably the next 18 months or so, to see how far we can get, how many people we can get in, and what we can do with all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, so it's good to have It's Racing back joining us for Track Stars in Australia. So obviously we've done our best to try and hold up the bargain. Obviously trying to manage the Discord, talk to people, try and communicate with people obviously closer to us, obviously, and in a way that with Jarman, actual It's Racing being away in America, you can't do much, and you can't really jump on the game, test cars out or test specs when it comes to BOP or when it comes to at least doing the Formula 2 settings. He did that before he left, so that's what he provided us this year for the Trackstars Formula 2 boys with his BOP. It worked out excellent, and for the boys to be racing this evening for 11 rounds. It definitely shows that they were committed to racing Formula 2. We did see a great attendance. We did see 2 splits of racing. I think the most that we had was actually round 1. We had 10 drivers in split 2, which was an amazing showing by everyone in Trackstars Racing Series to support us to, stick through thick and thin. And obviously, in a way, with the GT game not being fully complete, we can kind of call this season as a beta season in a way. But we got there in the end, DJ. We had a great show. We had a great evening. And overall, we've had a great season.
Yeah, as I said, this season's definitely been one of my favourites, I guess. With you being, with all your little fancy words and stuff like that at Interlagos and Spa and all that kind of stuff, and we come to our home track at Bathust, and you kind of let me take the reins there, so that's a bit. I'm pretty thankful for that, but yeah, it's bring it on next season, I think, because I'm just curious on what the potential is with some driver shuffles and team shuffles and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a pretty exciting one. But for now, from what I could say, the Trackstars Formula 2 season for 2022, for me, that comes to an end, unfortunately.
So that is the end of Trackstars Formula 2, like you've mentioned. We get into the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship coming up over the next week. Obviously, we're trying to see if we can get the season underway next Sunday with the TS3 boys in their old GT500s 2008 models, Nissans, Lexus, and Honda, belting around, bringing out the old V8 engines and bringing out the classic sound of the GT500s before we move into the 2016 model cars in the Nissan, Honda, and Lexus in TS2 and main series. We cannot wait for the touring cars to come avail in the next week or so. But for the final time here at Trackstars Formula 2, on behalf of myself and DJ in the comm box, thank you for joining us this season. It's been a wonderful season, and we cannot wait to call all the action for TS2 and TS3 coming up. But for now, and the Formula 2 boys, we'll see you guys very soon.